Actually, I didn't realize that my microphone was not muted anymore. I was just enjoying a little bit more beer. Anyway, ladies, gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, meine Damen und Herren, señores y señoras, all international introduction by Special Andre coming up right away. Guten Abend, good evening, buonasera, buenas noches, konnichiwa, xin chao, ni hao, dobre wicze, bonsoir, dobre wicze, good afternoon, good kveld, Annyeong, grüezi wohl, yo estet kivanok, and for my Hebrew friends in Israel, shalom. I mean, shalom is a very international word anyway. So here we go. It is the finals of tonight's Competo Cup. It is Joe against Elfi. We saw Joe winning against Action Jesus 2-1. We saw Elfi winning a 2-0 against Sif. And now it is time for us to see who of those Protoss players will be victorious. The prize for tonight, once again as a reminder, is a 50 euros and a power supply unit or some headphones, and all in all this together is worth about $120, $140, which is quite a lot actually. So Joe here at the 7 o'clock position as the pink Protoss, and as the blue Protoss in the top left we have Elfi. So this is Test Bug. Test Bug is a 3-player map, and 3-player map basically means you're always spawning next to your opponent, because it doesn't really matter on a 3-player map. That you have, on the one hand you have an empty base, and on the other hand you have your opponent. So it doesn't really matter where you spawn, you always spawn next to your opponent. Then let's talk a little bit about this map, because even though a lot of people already saw quite a lot of games, and I will be able to now tell you a little bit about what is going on with this. So we have your natural expansion. This is the only... I'm sorry, I'm just getting distracted by Bly right now, so maybe I'm just going for the busy mode right now. So, by the way, one zealot moving out, more about that later. So we have this natural expansion, then we have 4 Xel'Naga watchtowers. 3 of those Xel'Naga watchtowers are covered by destructible debris, or here by destructible rocks. So you can only access those towers if you get rid of the rocks. And then in the absolute center we have another Xel'Naga watchtower. You see those small rocks here on the ground, and those rocks on the ground indicate the vision range of the Xel'Naga watchtower. By the way, now it is time to talk a little bit more what's going on in this game right away. We see Joe is going for the Blink Stalker attack. He's going for the Twilight Council. Meanwhile, Elfi is going for the 3 gates at the moment. I was talking to Joe before this game started, and I told him I demand awesome gameplay, and he said, okay dokie, no problem, he will just not 4 gate. So this zealot here by Joe was already in the mineralizing ding. 4 probes in total, bringing those probes down, and this small attack here by Joe with his Stalkers and his Zealots was absolutely worth it. And he is going for the Blink Stalkers, and going for the Blink Stalkers, I really like this, because you can do a lot of nice transitions there, and you can contain your opponent really good, because if you have the micro, and if you survive any pressure attacks early on, you'll be able to do pretty much a lot with those Blink Stalkers. You can just blink up a base, for example, here at the back. If you have an observer later on, just snipe out some key buildings, then blink away. Now he's moving over here with this probe. This probe will get taken out by Elfi right now. But he's now taking out another Stalker of Elfi right away, and because he knows, okay, I just my probe just died, so I know that there's a single Stalker, so he's cleaning up the Stalker as well. So like I said, Joe is a very smart player, and I like this smartness about him. So let's talk a little bit more about Test Bug. So yeah, we got this natural expansion. This is the only way in the base. via the natural expansion. Then we got 3 gold expansion in the middles. If you want, you can build your nexus right away, but you need to get rid of those destructible rocks before you can start mining here at the gold. We got the the bottom left center location, at the 12 o'clock center location, and at the bottom right. So each player's got an own gold position, a gold expansion. And if you control the gold expansion, you can go for another expansion. Whoop! Here on the high ground as well. So a lot of expansions on the map. If you want, you can go for a lot of expanding, but you can go for a very intense gameplay as well. So this is a very versatile map, and of course it's looking pretty awesome. We just saw Joe going for some small action, doing some small damage, blinking away with all of his stalkers. And what actually is the response by Elfi? The Elfi response is to go for the blink stalkers himself as well. So it is now blink stalker against blink stalker. Elfi with the 3 gates. On the other hand, Joe with the 4 gates. Let's take a look at the units lost, and there we see Joe there clearly in the lead. He was able to do more damage, just once again blinking away with the stalkers, and now the blink for Elfi just finished as well. So now each player is just blinking his stalkers away. Joe realizing, might not be the best choice, but in the end he's still not in the too bad of a position. But now Elfi with the defender's advantage was able to get warp in more units. And what does defender's advantage mean? It just means that you can reinforce your army much faster if you're defending, because if Joe wants to reinforce, he has to reinforce from this pylon. It takes a couple of seconds until all those stalkers here at the main entrance. And if you're curious about the colors on this map, because this area is looking all green and stuff, this area is looking all metal and stuff, and this area is just gray and gray. So it just basically means nothing. It's just all about the style. So from gameplay aspects, it doesn't really matter where you spawn. It is rotational symmetrical. I'm not sure what the correct term there is, but it doesn't really matter where you spawn. The architecture of each third of the map is everywhere the same. So what is a good follow-up play for the blink stalkers? You can do 2 things. You can go for the Dark Templars, of course. High Templars is not that effective, actually the least effective units in PvP. So you can go for the Dark Templar because you already have the Twilight Council. Or you can go for the robotics facility follow-up, and go for the robotics facility follow is the smart play to do it, because going for the robo facility follow is meaning that you have your observer out, and if you're having your observer out, you of course are safe against possible counterattacks by the opponent who might be going for DT as well, if your opponent might be going for some DT. So let's take a look at the stalker count. It is 19 stalkers against 19 stalkers. The only difference, now there we have another big battle. Nice choice by Elfi to go here with the Guardian Shield, but Elfi is blinking with more stalkers than he actually needs to. And now Joe was able to take out the sentry, and now Joe with the pylon being placed here, being able to walk in those zealots, now scaring those remaining stalkers away. But now he was overcommitting a little bit too much. He needs to have his other zealots here in the mix as well, and now it is one observer next to each other. But now Elfi is warping in here with this pylon, some stalkers, some zealots of his own. Now the zealots fighting against the zealots, the stalkers fighting against the stalkers. Now Elfi will be victorious in this battle because he was able to micro a little bit better. Joe did a big mistake by overextending himself. He was a little bit too greedy, so that's why now it is 14 stalkers against 5 stalkers. Not looking too good there for Joe. And another good thing about those blink stalkers is if you see your opponent going for the very fast Colossus, you just can run in there with your stalkers, just go for a blink and snipe out a Colossus. So sentry here, sentry gets taken out immediately, and now Joe will use some of his probes, and it's just looking better and better for Elfi because just he needs to blink away his stalkers at the front, meanwhile getting rid of more probes. And now it is 16 stalkers against 3 stalkers, and there we see GG and the well played. Xel'Naga Caverns will be map number 2 in this best of 5 finals. And yeah, actually, I'm sorry, because I was busying myself, and when I'm busying myself, I will not be able to see any chat. because Bly was talking to me there, and when I'm seeing people chatting to me, it's not, my brain is not able to take this, to multitask that well. So reading what someone is saying in the chat, um, compiling it, so to say, understanding, thinking about it, and casting at the same time. I'm not that person who's able to do this, so I apologize that the scoreboard was missing in the first game. Will not be happening in the second game on Zellnager Kevin's finals. Competo Cup, Joe versus Elfi. Elfi up 1-0.